Good evening to those who will listen. It is November 13th, 2018, 7:39 p.m. Got delayed a little bit here, so don't pay attention at 7:30 p.m. 7:39. All right, I was in a car accident just a few hours ago, and I'll explain what happened. It was not a big deal. There was barely any damage done to either vehicle, and I asked him if he wanted to call the police. He didn't want to do it. He said there wasn't enough damage to even bother with. And he would probably wasn't going to call insurance either. I asked him about that, and he says he'll have to think about it. He says it's not worth it. We exchanged all the information, both insurance cards, our addresses and phone numbers and all that, and we both took pictures of each other's vehicles. So there wasn't much damage done. Here's what happened, though. I was literally a block away from where I was going to my sister's house. And I was crossing over an intersection, 2 lanes on each side. So there was 4 lanes. And there was a lot of traffic, at least on one side. And the traffic stopped and let me into the middle. And I inched out into the middle. And then I was waiting for an opening to get across. And I kept looking, and I wasn't sure if I should go. So I just sat there for a while. And then a guy waved me across, said it was okay. I mean, he didn't say it was okay. He was waving me across, like signaling that it was okay to go. So I just inched out a few more inches. It had to have been less than a foot. And a guy sideswiped the front end of my car. All it did was swipe the right corner of the vehicle. Didn't make any dents. It was just looked like it brushed it, and it looks, dark from where it hit, and then it ripped off my license plate. It barely, luckily, I mean, if I would have went out farther, it would have been a major accident, but it just barely swiped him. So on his, he had a little dent in his door, and his hubcap was torn. And he said, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." I was like, "Are you sure?" But he said he didn't want to call the police, so I figured, okay, he doesn't think it's bad enough, and I didn't think it was either. So we probably both thought, it'd be better for both of us, so we didn't have insurance rates going up. So I told you, we exchanged all the information and everything, okay. And so he said he would give me a call if he was going to call the insurance. Because I don't want to call my insurance if he doesn't call his. There's no sense in that. Because, I do have accident forgiveness. I have not been in an accident since 1984, when I was a senior in high school. Actually, it was in between. It was right before I started my senior year. So I've been a really safe driver all these years. Never used my insurance ever. Because back then, in 1984, I was on my father's insurance, but I've never used my insurance except for when 2 years ago somebody smashed into my parked car, and I had to do insurance that way, but that was his fault. And this was my fault, but I mean, it wasn't because that guy waved me through, but it's still my fault because I went. Luckily, I didn't just shoot across the lane. That would have been a major accident then. But I mean, it was just barely. Thank God. I thank God for that. It was just a really small side swipe, and it barely moved his car out of the lane, which is good because if I would have hit him enough, he probably would have went across lanes and hit other cars too. Then there would have been some major stuff. But I thank God for that. But I guess the lesson I learned out of this, because I've always been a safe driver, is never trust anybody waving you through. Because that's just, you're taking chances then. But you shouldn't trust, I guess, I mean, I've done it many times where somebody waved me through or I've waved somebody else through. But, I guess you just shouldn't trust that. But everybody's okay. I wasn't with anybody. The other guy was with one other passenger, and nothing major happened, luckily. So I thank God for that. So prepare for another video later on. I got my final statement, disposition of what I'm going to say to the judge all finished. Everything is all finished. Everything's all put together, organized. I'm ready to go tomorrow. And, well, I put it in a video earlier. I think, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, I put it as a treat thing. They're going to allow me to record the hearing. They said it was public record, and they're going to make a copy of it anyway. So I can get a copy of that too if I wanted. But just in case, you know, who knows, I'd like to have it for myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get there early, and then I'm going to live stream the hearing, but I'm going to put it on private so it's not actually live. You know, record the whole hearing, and then after that, I will publish it later. After that, that way, you know, in case they say, "Oh, you can't record it live," I don't know if they'd allow it or not, but I'd rather just be on the safe side and just do it that way. And then, what was I going to say? Then everybody will be able to see what happened in the hearing. And with the evidence I have, especially now that I am allergic to that Alternaria mold, there should be no way I should lose that. And then I'll get my Section 8 back finally. And then I'll be able to look for a new apartment and hopefully find one before. I don't think I have a problem finding one. Find one before December 1st and move out December 1st is the goal. And hopefully it won't take any longer than that because it's starting to get really cold. And I'm sure snow's on the way, and I don't want to move in the middle of winter. It's hard to do. And I don't, you know, it'll be harder to get help, too, who wants to move somebody in the middle of winter. So hopefully it'll still be just a couple weeks away, and it won't be so bad when I move. And hopefully nothing else gets delayed. I don't want anything to get delayed. Because, you know, for one, I got the storage, and if I don't want to keep having to pay extra money for storage, I'm pretty much broke as it is, no job at the moment. And as soon as I find out where I'm going to live, I'll try to find a job that's close by. Because there is, my van is starting to really not run very well. It's stalling all the time now. I have to put it in gear. Usually I just put it in neutral. And, you know, I have to keep revving the engine to make sure it doesn't stall. I don't know what's going on with that. Seems like a timing issue or maybe fuel issue, something like clogged or something. I don't know. But so I don't want to be doing the delivery driving anyway. You know, I wanted to just do it for a little bit longer, but then the lawyer thing happened, which I wish I would have known that ahead of time. I would have never made an appointment with this lawyer if I knew he was just going to not represent me anyway. So there's where we stand. Praise Jesus. Thank God that nobody got hurt and no major accident happened from this. Thank God for that. But it was an inconvenience, and it just makes you think, you know, you always got to be careful and watch and always be alert. Even if you think something's okay, like somebody waving you through, always be cautious. So there's a lesson, I guess. You know, if you get somewhere where somebody waves you through, be careful, because you never know. They could be waving you through into an accident, which is what happened here. So that's it. Just pray for me tomorrow that everything goes well in the court and that I say the right things. I don't say something wrong that would jeopardize anything. And just pray that the judge will see all the evidence and make the right decisions. And just that God's will be done. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. God bless.